Hi there, Dr. Alan Christianson here, and this is how you can reset your mind if you can't meditate. There's been a lot of talk about the benefits of meditation, and I hear a lot of people say that they try various techniques and their mind just doesn't stop, and they can't sit still, they get more and more frustrated, and it's counterproductive. So it's a valid goal to calm the mind and quiet it, but sometimes the common approaches just don't work for all people. Even simple things like mantra-based meditation sometimes are too much of a struggle and more stress than they're worth. So here's a very different approach. And this is based on a yogic technique called Tritaka, which involves using visual focus as well. And it's also paced in an intentional way to allow it to keep the busy modern mind more occupied than common techniques would. So with this one, we're using visual focus intentionally, and we're going to find a fixed point, ideally something on the horizon, but at least something more than 10 feet away. So where I am, I'll be looking at a point. There's an edge of a rock that's off in the distance. We hear about the idea of, seeing the big picture or seeing a larger perspective, and there's relative truth to that metaphor. When our vision is always myopic or close in, it does narrow the possibilities of our thinking. So when we see things at a larger scale, it's different. And we spend so little time looking beyond what's immediately in front of us. We spend most of our lives just right here, and so little at any further perspective. So at least 10 feet or more away, if you're inside of a room, the far corner of the room could work. If there's an area where you could see outdoors or be outdoors, then find some point that's very distinct. So a point you can easily track and keep your eyes fixed at, but is quite a ways away. If there's a mountain on the horizon, or if there's an island you can see off in the ocean, or a distant tree, or even a distant streetlight, or a distant corner of a building, but something that's quite a ways away and is very distinct. So that's going to be the frame of visual focus. So for this practice, you want to set aside 10 minutes, and you want a trusted timer. Now, I say a trusted timer intentionally because I've been in practices like this to where I've been at it for a while, I've been doing my thing, and my mind starts going, why is the timer not gone off? I should be done by now. It's been at least 10 minutes. What's going on? It's broken. It stopped. I didn't set it right. So test your timer. Test it on a minute first, make sure that it works so you can have that part out of the way, and let everyone know that this is some quiet time and you're not to be interrupted short of a house fire, and also turn your phone off during the time frame too. So you're carving aside 10 minutes, you've got a visual focus, and you want a comfortable place to sit. So that might be, we call this cheese grater granite, but probably not. That'll probably be a nice chair or a soft spot. If you're flexible, lotus pose, cross-legged, awesome. If not, just somewhere your back is straight and you're relatively comfortable. Now, I wouldn't suggest a lazy boy. We're not talking about go to sleep comfortable. You want to be comfortable, but you want to stay alert. So there's those parts taken care of. So what goes on in your mind, this is going to be really simple counting. This is no chanting to Krishna or no Hail Marys. This is just simple counting, just numbers. And you want to have a rather brisk pace with this, and you want your numbers to count your breath coming in and your breath going out. So you want some awareness of your breathing. And in terms of the pace, try something like this. So I'm breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm breathing out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that would be going on internally, but you want a rather brisk pace for it. Now, a slow pace could seem that it would be more relaxing, but for many of us, our mind's going to fill in whatever gap it can. So if you're doing in, out, and you're taking a pace of your mind that's slower, that's when it starts to run away from you. So intentionally keeping a faster pace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you want to really keep that pace, but use the count to fit the natural length of your breathing. And as you start, your breathing will be a little bit faster than it will after you've been sitting for a few minutes. So we're going to keep putting more and more of this together for you. So comfy spot, probably not cheese grater granite, nice point off in the distance. and eyes open. So we're not closing our eyes going off into la la land. We're staying alert and visually focused on this distant point. And here's what's going on inside my head. I'll give this to you verbally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, of course, you'll be breathing when you're doing that and not talking. But it's very normal that after a moment or so, your breathing will become more slow and more controlled. And it might move to something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you might be counting a bit more too. But that's roughly the pace you want. So you should be counting many, many numbers per breath and per second. It's a rather brisk pace. And that's pretty much the procedure. So what you're doing is sitting comfortable, distant visual point, and as you can see where I am, I would be craning a little bit, so you'd want also to be positioned to where that distant visual point is pretty naturally aligned, to where you're looking just straight roughly forward to see it without too much bending or cranking. And then with that, the fast pace. So I've had many who have really struggled at meditation and not have it work before, but knew they wanted to and knew that it could help them, where this has worked out very well. So the visual focus prevents a lot of mental distraction visually. You know, when we close our eyes, all sorts of things start to happen. We think about images and concepts and ideas. It's just a setup for our minds to wander. And for sure, there are many who have done quite well with different types of meditation, more power to them. But the eyes open can work really well for those to where other types have not. And then the counting. The most common two types of meditation would be mantra-based and awareness-based, meaning one where you repeat something and one where you allow yourself to become more just aware and dispassionate about your thoughts. That can be hard to start, but powerful. The mantra meditations for many, they find that they really stick well, that they're easy to start on and easy to be regular with. You know, there's this whole loop of competence and confidence. If there's things that you really can't do, that you're not competent at, they will not make you feel confident and you will not be drawn back to them. But the things you can do well and you can be successful at, you'll give yourself little mental rewards and you'll like it, you'll want to do it again. So doing things in ways that don't block your confidence will help maintain your competence. And the pace is powerful too. So the pace is enough to where you have to be occupying your mind to keep up with it. You're counting and you're changing your count with each breath, so you're watching your breath. But it's not so complex that your mind becomes frustrated or stressed or tired from it. It's just about right for most, to where it's challenging, it's occupying, but it's not laborious. And the real secret to meditation is getting some freedom from the tyranny of your thoughts. You know, some have called this the biggest illusion that we're all experiencing, is that our thoughts are real things. And here's a really odd concept, but it's so true neurologically. So right now, I'm seeing a camera, I'm seeing a person holding a camera, I'm seeing rocks, I'm seeing bushes, but I'm actually not experiencing those things directly. I'm experiencing my mind's impression of all those things. So in terms of raw data from the nerves of my brain, this image should be upside down. I don't know if you all have heard that, but the way images come into your brain, they're upside down and they're reversed. So you make it up that they're upright. That's totally made up. And there was a man in the, I believe in the late 1800s, who made glasses that allowed him to see the world upside down. So he wore them day in and day out. And after about 5 days, he woke up one morning and he saw things normally wearing the glasses. So he wore glasses, making it appear upside down, but his brain adapted and adjusted. And he took them off, and now the world was upside down. It did get better after a while, but that's a small example of how we really are creating our experience internally. So we're really experiencing our brain, and we're experiencing our thoughts. We're not directly experiencing the world around us. And it's so easy for our thoughts to take on a larger sense of reality than they deserve. And they're not really who we are. You know, our thoughts change and they come and go, and yet our identity persists. And they're not things that we always have to act on. They're not things that are even meaningful in many cases. And the powerful thing about resetting your mind or a meditative practice is you get to experience moments of clarity in which you're out of the tyranny of the chattering mind. And some can sit down and make their minds be still. That's probably an Olympian level of proficiency that most of us do not have and is not realistic for many of us. But if we do steps that allow us to have our minds engaged and occupied, but not overwhelmed and not have room for distraction, we can shift our perspective on our very thoughts, and they can become less troubling to us. So our feelings, for example, we have feelings of fear or frustration, and we always assume it's because of something that happened. And the something that happened could have been part of it, but it's really our thoughts that we're experiencing. It's our thoughts about that event that are causing us the pain and trauma. So if you can be more dispassionate about your thoughts and see them more like just, there's a cloud going through the sky. Okay, that's fine. I don't have to get attached to it or do anything to it. It's going to be gone in a bit. If we can see our thoughts more like that, that opens up vast amounts of peace, clarity, and energy, and resiliency. So if you've sucked at meditation before, you're not alone. It's not easy, and our life sets us up not to be good at it, the pace of our modern life. But this is one that's very different. It's one that's made for people in the modern world like we are. And it's something you won't fail at. It's very easy, but you can reap huge amounts of benefit in terms of reduced stress, less depression, freedom from anxiety, better energy, better alertness. And you'd be amazed how many ways that can spill over into other facets of your health. You know, less chronic pain, better digestion, better immune function, better tissue repair. So I wish you all that and more. Try this practice out, resetting your mind for those who can't meditate. We'll talk again real soon.